Those of you who have aged, not much, mind you, may remember that day. And those of you whose day is coming may not be able to wait. Because turning 16 in any teenager's life is quite a big deal. For you, this may be a driver's license. For another, this could mean graduating to a higher age group, in which case you come closer to your goal of making the first team at high school, whether you're playing football, basketball or hockey. These days too, gifted youngsters are making the soccer team at a younger age. But of course, not everyone has these gifts. So, what's to be done? Stand at the sidelines while the rest of the school cheers them on? Not a chance. Any boy or girl who sets his or her mind to reaching the pinnacle of his or her aspirations can reach those goals. Time spent in the gym on a workout plan for 16-year-old male could soon see a skinny guy making the football team. Why it's important to come up with a workout plan for the 16-year-old male? Well, not that soon. Because of course, it does take time for those muscles to develop. And there are other life-changing factors to take into account as well. Training well, not hard, takes discipline. Sacrifices need to be made. Eating habits need to change as well. So, if you're a girl who's used to picking on her food like a sparrow, you'd better change your ways if you want to make the hockey team. This informational article starts off on a motivational note. It is also instructional. A sample workout plan ideal for a 16-year-old will also be shared. And after summarizing the events, the article moves on to a very important area that so many average teenagers of today continue to ignore at their own peril. That's the important matter of eating right. It talks about addressing current eating habits and how to change them for the better. A successful workout plan for 16-year-old male. It should also talk about what and how much should now be consumed now that you're going to be packing on weight. As an average teenager, you should be burning off an enormous amount of calories in any case. And that's still healthy. But what if you're required to burn off even more energy? One way around it is to simply eat more. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be chowing 2 helpings of cheeseburgers and freedom fries from now on. And it doesn't mean 2 liters of soda a day either. You see, things have got to change. Not just in the gym but in the kitchen as well. So, talk to your mom about this if it's really necessary. Remember that one of the best ways for a young body to grow healthily is to have a healthy and balanced eating plan in place. A sample weekly menu could be shared with you before this article closes. But before that happens, let's also talk a bit about protein and why it's so important at this important stage of your life. What it means to be 16, crossing over into young adulthood. Just what does it mean to be 16? Those who have been there and done that could be able to answer this significant question. They will be able to tell those of you who are approaching this pivotal date with some trepidation that there is a lot of good to be taken with the bad. The bad is this. Teenagers your age are feeling a whole lot more pressure than your older peers did back in the day. 16-year-old male building muscle workout. But you know what they say. Positive things happen to positive people. Whatever challenges or pressures you are faced with, you should be seeking out positive solutions. Look at it this way. You are not faced with a mountain range. It's only a mole heap over which your skinny and not yet muscular limbs can easily step over. And let that heap of problems be someone else's for a change. Learning to be responsible. The workout plan for 16-year-old male students and wannabe professionals should be a responsible one. Try putting together a workout plan on your own and you'll definitely have your work cut out. It would be a whole lot better if you work things out with your sports coach or gym instructor. You're still busy with high school, but these guys should have appropriate qualifications that back up their ability to coach you properly and monitor your progress. A responsible workout plan takes time to put together. The coach or gym instructor still needs to get to know his student. But through experience and understanding how the physiology of a young man like you is built and designed to work, a customized plan could be put together during your first consultation. Expect your first workout plan to last a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks. A workout plan for the 16-year-old male to get lean and toned. And never expect overnight results. That's never going to happen no matter what tips and tricks you're willing to take a chance on. But if you are competent and responsible with your weights, you should already start seeing results within a week or 2. The weights must be adjusted in accordance with your height, current weight and bone density. It must also be adjusted in accordance with your current strength capabilities. And of course your age. A responsible workout plan will be spaced out, if you will. In other words, don't expect to be hitting the weights day in and day out. Because if you're training 6 days a week, you should expect to fatigue your muscles pretty quickly and risk getting injured. No, one day you'll be lifting weights, and the next day you will be recovering. But during the recovery day, you could still be doing other forms of training, all in accordance with the sport you might be practicing. Coming up with a workout plan for the 16-year-old male. This info-driven article does not seek to provide you with a full 6-day workout plan for 16-year-old male use. There can be no one-size-fits-all pattern for the objectives required. Because in case you have forgotten, while you are not the only 16-year-old reading this article tonight, you are far removed from the next guy. You are unique. What works for the other guy may not necessarily work for you. Which is why it is just so important that you sit down with your gym instructor to formulate a plan that suits you to a T. So this sample here is merely a rough outline of things likely to come. Let's have a look at what you could expect and what you're likely to be aiming for, assuming of course, that your gym instructor is guiding you correctly. You'll be looking to put on a maximum of 3 pounds per month. That means gaining in weight at a rate of 3 pounds a month. 1 or 2 workouts a week, that would be the beginner's minimum, that forms the skeleton of a workout plan for the 16-year-old males, would certainly include the following exercises: squats, dips, back extensions, lunges, pull-ups, push-ups. One workout would standardize the use of these, standard exercises by restricting the youngster to no more than one set of 15 reps. Particularly if you're starting off for the very first time, that's still quite a stack of work. Successful workout plan for the 16-year-old male to build muscle. After about 6 to 8 weeks of training, results may appear to be minimal. The thing about any level of weight training, from beginner to advanced, is that patience and discipline is always required. At any rate, provided that the student trainer is sticking to his routine, he should see results which lead to stronger and bigger muscles. And when that happens, his coach may well be confident enough to give him the go-ahead to do a minimum of 3 sets of 15 reps of each of the exercises just mentioned. Further exercises like bench presses and rows, barbell squats and deadlifts could be added to the weight training regime. A diet plan for the 16-year-old male to gain muscle. Right, so before we move on to the crucial diet for 16-year-old male to gain muscle, let's do a brief recap of the mileage covered so far. It started off on a motivational note, providing reassurances that life as a 16-year-old male is not all bad. It is to be expected that there will be pressures that come with any amount of responsibilities placed on your young shoulders. Ask any adult, your mom or dad. They will willfully or reluctantly say that that's life. If they've been reluctant, maybe they have to reassess their workloads too. Because no matter what age you are, it's definitely not healthy to be in constant overload all the time. Which brings us round to the crux of the matter. Working out to gain mass and muscle. If you're blasted tired at the end of your workout, you're probably doing too much. If you're struggling your way through each rep, you're probably lifting too heavy. But at the same time, if it feels as though you're jacking up your mother's feather duster, you're definitely doing too little. Time to step things up a notch or 2. Assume that you've been lifting and weighting correctly. But not so fast, Jimbo. Because you're still blasted tired. You could also be confused. You're wondering to yourself, healthy diet plan for the 16-year-old male, what the heck have I done wrong this time? Always just remember that another major cause of muscle and mental fatigue is that you may not be eating enough. That means you too, you who's still skipping the most important meal of the day. Breakfast. And even if you're eating regularly, you could still be feeling it. Another dietary cause is that you're still not eating right. A major assessment of those food ingredients is required. The second half of this informational article is as important as the first half, if not more so. The fact of the matter is that, still to this day, the average teenager is definitely not eating right. Today the stats are quite disturbing to say the least. Because more and more young men your age are contracting the life-threatening type 2 diabetes. Heck, even kids younger than 10 are falling foul of this disease, which, you would have thought, normally hits adults when they reach middle to advanced age. And even then, that's still no excuse. Vitally important that from a young age, kids need to be educated by their folks to eat right. And while they're about it, they need to be getting plenty of exercise and sunshine. And that means spending more and more time away from the flat screen and the video games. But that's not an issue for you, right? Because you're keen on getting jacked up so that you can make the first team. Putting together a healthy diet plan to gain muscle. If you're not yet down at the gym, you're spending much of your free time practicing maneuvers that would make even the great Ronaldo stop and watch. And you're getting involved in as many games as you possibly can. And enjoying it as well. Right? Wrong. Because why are you sweating that much? It's not healthy for a kid your age. Could it be that you're undernourished or malnourished or simply not eating right, whether you're eating too little or too much? Addressing eating habits. Could be. Which brings us round to this important business of a diet for 16-year-old male to gain muscle, amongst other important matters. Amongst which include addressing your current eating habits right now, removing all the junk food you thought you were enjoying and educating you all on the essence of enjoying a healthy and balanced diet for a body and mind that is still growing as we speak. Eating plan to build muscle for 16-year-old, then we'll try and stretch our legs a bit on a sample and suggested outline, giving you a vague impression of what diets for 16-year-olds who want to build muscles could look like, not so much for the purposes of looking good, but building strength. Sample and suggested diets do, however, need to be accompanied by a useful list of healthy ingredients. Like eating a calcium-enriched banana instead of a bag of potato chips when you're starting to feel famished. And if you want to successfully build muscles and be strong, you're going to need to put some beef into the protein component of your new weekly eating plan. And if you're working out, you're still going to need to enrich your diet with generous helpings of carbs. Good news if you're already into pasta dishes and peanut butter sandwiches. Only this time, start thinking about going wholly organic. Eat well to build muscle for the 16-year-old now. If you come from a background of being obese and accustomed to eating junk, changing your eating habits overnight may not come easy. Not to worry. Because like your customized workout plan, don't expect overnight results when trying to radicalize your eating habits. It's like this again. Good food takes time to prepare. But maybe, just maybe, your eating transformation will be a lot easier than you think. But the good thing about preparing healthy food is that it only takes minutes to prepare. So move along, Mom, I've got work to do. Getting rid of the junk early in life. It's that list of healthy ingredients, you see. It could blow you away. You could end up being so surprised. You'll wonder to yourself why you never heard of these foods before. And even if you did, you'll be wondering to yourself, why didn't I try this out before? Like a peanut butter and banana sandwich instead of the Jell-O. If you've still got that sweet tooth that you just can't seem to get rid of, you simply substitute the Jell-O or corn syrup with raw, organic honey. You have to eat healthy to build muscle. As a 16-year-old, I get that it's an acquired taste, and some of you may not find it easy to adjust to, but I can confirm, nevertheless, that it's really delicious. Do yourself a favor if you're still eating junk. The sooner you get rid of it, the better. Do this now and you won't ever have to worry about visiting a heart surgeon when you reach your dad's age. The accumulation of high levels of artificial cholesterol derived from junk and processed food in your arteries might not be a bother now, but wait until you get to his age. It's not just the risk of heart disease, there's still diabetes and the risk of strokes, to say nothing about cancer. As you weave your way through any list of healthy ingredients, you're also going to start adjusting your mindset to consuming the organic alternatives. For one thing, the food is clean. It's free of chemicals and pesticides. And it's free of artificial hormones, which can be as dangerous as those found in steroids, which, of course, you won't be taking anyhow. Importance of healthy and balanced diet for growing body. The healthy diet aids muscle building. Unless you're a brilliant scientist, no one really knows when exactly the human body actually stops growing. But there's one thing that can be said for the 16-year-old body. It is still growing. As we speak. And it will continue growing until at least you reach your early 20s. But not if you're physically inactive and eating junk the whole time. You've heard of the term, stunted growth. It's not a joke. It's real. You may not notice it off the bat, but it is happening as long as you're still stuck in your old ways of eating junk and doing absolutely nothing else besides, and that includes your homework. And that part is important too. A healthy and balanced diet is definitely going to reap dividends for acquiring a healthy mind. You may have had that feeling already, particularly the night before an exam. You're stressed out and feeling pretty jaded. You're tempted to give up on your swatting exercise. There's less chance of that happening if you're feeding both your body and mind with a healthy and balanced diet. And that means still being able to chow on some items you may have been told by others is no good for you. Like a thick, juicy steak, for instance. That's got to be something big for your future menu if you're going to want to pack on the muscles. My meal plan for the 16-year-old male to build muscle. And to close off on this segment of the article. You have also heard of the term premature aging. Growing old way before your time. And there's a reason why some guys go bald early in life. It has nothing to do with their gene pool. Still on the subject of growing, this is really interesting. Read on. Assume that you're still working out in your adult years. Guess what? Your muscles are still growing. That seems logical. But then there is this question. When do the muscles actually grow? In your sleep. Actually, yes. This is the time your muscles start to grow. During your rest and recuperation periods, and particularly while you're sleeping. And this is why it is just so important that you get to bed early and get your full quota of a minimum of 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. And this is also a good time to sleep in over weekends. You never have to feel guilty about it at all. This is your rest time. Your body is in recovery mode. And it is growing. Sampling diets for 16-year-olds who want to put on muscle. How about a sample diet for 16-year-old male to gain muscle, then taking it as it comes? One day at a time. Stretching out to a week. Let's see how far this note goes. It should be delicious. Let's start with the most important meal of the day. Breakfast. To drink. Green or herbal tea sweetened with raw, organic honey. This becomes your substitute for that jug of black coffee that always seems to give you the jitters instead of waking you up. Smoothies to help build muscle. Fruit and dairy smoothie. Rich pickings here. So many raw fruits to use. Bananas, a wide variety of berries, citrus fruits, oranges, nectarines and grapefruits, apples and pears. To add further insult to the flavor, you can even add avocado pears, and you have a wide variety of nuts to pick from as well. Not because you want to go vegan, but just for adding further flavorful variety. You can substitute your usual dairy milk with soya, coconut and/or almond milk. Coconut milk, not cream. There's a big difference. But you can add 1 or 2 tablespoons of coconut cream to your next stir-fry veggies with noodles combo, together with 1 or 2 decadent spices. And did you know that curry powder is actually good for you? It boosts your immune system. You could even be a little cheeky and add a dash of chili powder to your fruit and dairy smoothie for a real kick in the, you know what. Coconut milk to help build muscle. And furthermore, did you know that the tasty, creamy avocado pear is actually a fruit and not a vegetable? Avo pear. Pear. Pear as a fruit, get it? Avo on its own is a real beauty for pre-workout snacks. Just add a little black or white pepper for some added flavor. And if you really must, just a speck of organic Himalayan salt. Because sodium can be a real killer, even for an active guy your age. One more thing before we move on to the food. No sugar. Repeat, no sugar. That's non-negotiable. End of story. So, let's talk food then. Food. Oatmeal to help build muscle for starters. Raw or cooked oats. Not everyone likes the taste of raw oats, and not everyone likes the taste of cooked oats, but that's never going to be at issue here because you can add decadent ingredients that remain healthy. Honey, dried fruits and nuts remain popular add-ons. Of course, you're in a good position to add any flavor you like, just as long as it's healthy. Your main course, eggs. It's been a tradition since who knows when. 1 or 2 eggs, or even 3, anything more than that is pushing it, even if you're lifting heavy weights. Do your eggs scrambled, poached or boiled, but never fried. The fried variation tends to contain too much of the bad cholesterol owing to the fact that most folks tend to have the bad habit of adding too much margarine and/or oil to it. Eggs can help build muscle too. Speaking of which, you can add oil, only this time make it extra virgin olive oil. Boil a dozen boiled eggs on the trot and you'll have your post-workout snack ready. Add veggies to your eggs to make the most important meal of the day a rich combo. Take all these samples together and it's guaranteed that you'll be feeling stuffed for at least the next few hours. Emphasis will be on protein. Protein is essential. Of that there can be no doubt. Call it a cliché if you will, but don't you remember it being called thus in your biology of physiology class? Protein is the building blocks of the body. But contentiously, nutritionists believe that too much of a good thing, in this case wheat protein, won't be a good thing. Still further, it is argued that the teenage body does not have the capacity to consume as much protein that a typical weightlifter or bodybuilder would. Choose healthy proteins to build muscle. An overdose of protein could do early damage to the kidneys. Don't overdo the protein to build muscle, and in any case, the active teenager doesn't need that much protein, so it is argued. Just under normal circumstances, a growing, active male teenager should be consuming at least 3,000 calories a day. Making up that quota will also be a generous helping of carbohydrates. Fortunately, most teenagers can't get enough of it these days. After all, who doesn't like a nice yummy warm bowl of juicy pasta any day of the week? But unfortunately, many teenagers have that nasty habit of skipping breakfast. Don't you remember the old saying? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. A good balance of protein and carbs begins with the breakfast bowl, and with plenty of roughage gained from the added fiber that comes from a decent helping of oats or bran. Good doses of carbs this early in the morning could be a healthy mix of whole grain bread, fruit and milk. More than enough healthy carbs to last you throughout the day. Healthy carbs to help you muscle up. Another healthy assumption being made is that you should only feed your body when it's hungry. So there you go, you do not need to eat purely out of habit. And another reason why young, active bodies in the gym won't be needing things like steroids any day soon, never mind that how about never, is because the body is producing more than enough of its share of insulin. This of course is an essential muscle-building hormone. It's useful for soaking up all the sugars and proteins that you've forced your body to consume. Physical training experts suggest that a neat snack half an hour after training will be quite alright. Guaranteed that your stomach will start feeling the pinch anyhow. They also say that a snack before bedtime is also okay, just as long as it's healthy. So instead of crisps and cheese curls, here's a few healthy ideas. Healthy snacking ideas to see you off. Healthy snacks to help you build muscle. Organic peanut butter, honey and banana on whole grain bread, loads of protein and iron. Cold turkey on whole grain bread, leaner protein option than chicken, also organic if you can. Organic smoothies with fruit and yogurt, perfect breakfast snack if you really insist on rushing off. And particularly handy around exam time is this: sneak in a carbs and protein snack bar, why don't you? It's only a taster of things to come. But it's hoped that this intro has been useful to you as you go on your way to build muscles. Good luck with that. Wow, this was a long article. So let's wrap this one up. Hopefully you young men looking to get serious with this muscle building venture learned a thing or two from this. Don't forget to check out my blog for more fitness advice and info over at tacticalelitefitness.com. So until next time.